In Venezuela, the foreign minister ratified that the only way to solve the dispute over the Guyana is through bilateral, peaceful and diplomatic dialogue between Venezuela and Guyana. In the United Nations, senior representative of several nations reject the U.S. veto of Security Council draft resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. West African leaders ruled to maintain sanctions on Niger's ruling military junta and demanded progress toward a brief transition to civilian rule. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Rosabal from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Venezuela on Monday, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Iván Gil, and the sectoral Vice President of the Communication, Culture and Tourism, Freddy Ñañez, held a media meeting in order to explain Venezuela's position on the territorial controversy with Guyana over the territory of Guyana Esquiva. During the event, Foreign Minister Gil ratified that the only way to solve the dispute over the Guyanese Guyana Esquiva is through bilateral, peaceful, and diplomatic dialogue between Venezuela and Guyana. In this sense, they also offered details on the dialogue to be held on Thursday in St. Vincent and the Grenadines between the President of the Republic, Nicolás Maduro, and his counterpart of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Irfan Ali, to discuss matters related to the border controversy of the Guyana Esquiva. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, accuses Guatemala and Prosecutor's Office of attempting to undermine elections. On Monday, Volker Turk claimed that the Prime Minister of Guatemala is persistently and systematically trying to undermine the general election results, disregarding the voters' willingness. A day after the Prosecutor's Office declared the elections won by President-elect Bernardo Arévalo de León as invalid. Turk assured that judicial and political action have long been violating the rule of law and democracy. In September, Arévalo warned that the Attorney General Consuelo Porras was attempting a coup d'etat against him to prevent him from taking office on January 14, replacing Yamatei. And 9 people were killed at an MST camp in northern Brazil when workers installing an Ethernet antenna accidentally touched a high-voltage power line, electrocuting 3 employees and 6 residents. The accident, which also left 8 people injured with burns that were taken to the hospital, occurred on Saturday and generated short circuits, which also produced a large fire in the village camp of the landless workers' movements installed in the outskirts of the city of Parú-Apevas. A succession of modest hamlets went up in flames, and according to officials of the Fire Department. According to the landless worker movement, employees of the internet company without the minimum safety standards were installing an internet antenna individually requested by the residents. After the electrical discharge, the fire department was called and the fire was brought under control. In the United States, local media on Sunday reported that the city of Los Angeles and the state of California has become the nation's homeless capitals ahead of New York. According to the most recent data, more than 75,000 people are sleeping on the sidewalks of Hollywood, Skid Row, or the beaches of Venice, and 70% more than in 2015. In a sense, the report highlights that the city mayor Karen Bass has dismantled encampments by the dozens in her election by the end of the moratorium on evictions imposed during the pandemic raises years of influx of new homeless in the coming months. On the other hand, and according to the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority, there are an estimated 46,000 homeless residents in the city, and it should be emphasized that in 2022, about 582,000 U.S. citizens are homeless, according to the Department of Housing and Urban Developments.
My situation, I'm living both in the streets and in Skid Row because the shelters they kind of backed up, but they're giving housing, you know, they're doing housing. So we just have to be patient and the housing to come through. I was staying with my god brother and then we got evicted. He went with his family, and I grew up in foster care, so I didn't have that option. So I came to the street, and that's when my depression came in, because it was hard to get work that I was comfortable doing every single day.
The United States celebrated the 100th anniversary of the Hollywood sign located in Los Angeles, California. The 137-meter-long, nearly 15-meter-high sign is perched high on Mount Lee and the Santa Monica Mountains. The current sign is not the original, which was made of the wood and sheet metal and weathered several times before the current version, which was made in 1978 and last repainted in 2005. The sign was first illuminated on December 8, 1923, and originally read Hollywoodland to advertise an upscale development in the city. The iconic symbol reflects the glamorous U.S. film industry, which is still going strong and, according to recent data, has a net worth of $42.5 billion. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you find news in different formats, new dates, and more. Our story is coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. Senior representatives of several nations expressed their disappointment with the veto imposed by the United States in the UN Security Council on the draft resolution calling for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. The vote in favor of the resolution on Saturday, December 9th, was approved by 13 of the 15 members of the UN Security Council, with the United Kingdom abstaining. In this regard, the High Representative of the European Union, Josep Borrell, regretted the U.S. veto, assuring that the initiative presented by the United Arab Emirates was promoted by the majority of the European nations. In this regard, the spokesman for the Iranian Foreign Ministry, Nasser Kanani, denounced the failure of the Security Council to fulfill its duty to maintain international peace and security. The death toll from the Israeli attacks against the Gazan population has risen to 17,997, the majority of whom, as had been the case since the beginning of the genocidal operation, are women and children. In a press conference, the spokesman of the Gaza Health Ministry, Afra al-Qudra, updated on Monday the criminal statistics of 66 days of the genocidal operation of the Israeli occupier. Among the victims of the last 12 hours include 2 women killed in Hamad at one hospital and more than 40 civilians for Shali Nusayrat. There al-Bala and Sheikh Bradant. The spokesman for the Gazati Health Ministry also confirmed that the number of wounded stands at 49,229. On Monday, in Palestine, universities, public transport, banks, stores, and factories in the West Bank went on strike in solidarity with Gaza. The strike, called by the National Islamic Forces in the West Bank, paralyzed all aspects of life in a popular call to continue the confrontation with Israeli occupation in the region's streets and squares. The stoppage of labor and society activities announces the position of the Washington government are rejecting the United Nations Security Council resolution on a ceasefire. Among the actions that the inhabitants of the West Bank are carrying out as part of the strike are not leaving home, not shopping in person or on the internet, and deactivating Facebook and Instagram accounts. And also on Monday, Palestinians participated in a rally in Ramallah in the occupied West Bank in solidarity with Gaza. In this sense, protesters at the rally displayed a huge list with the names of victims in the Gaza Strip. Activists, in the meantime, joined a strike in solidarity with the busy territory that covered business, public workers, and education. In the meantime, Hassan Abu Baker, coordinator of Palestinian factions in Ramallah, described the protest as part of a global effort to pressure Israel to stop the war, and reported that strikes were also taking place in parts of Jordan and Lebanon.
Today we announce a general strike in order to support the Palestinian resistance in Gaza and to send a message to all our Palestinian people throughout the world and to all the free people of the world. We thank those who stand with the Palestinian cause and support the Palestinian people.
Jordanian Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi on Monday denounced Israel's plan to expel the Palestinians from Gaza through a genocidal war and reaffirmed that these governments will not allow this to happen. Safadi's statements came as part of an intervention by the Jordanian delegation at the Doha Forum organized by the Qatari government. Jordan Foreign Minister added that Israel has created a scale of hatred that will haunt entire generations in the region. Jordan shares borders with the West Bank and in 1948 absorbed the bulk of the expelled Palestinians after the creation of Israel. Ratifying that his country cannot remain indifferent to the illegal process of expulsion or the occupier, he assured that there is a worldwide demand to put an end to Israeli genocidal war in Gaza.
Victims are increasing by the day.
What we are seeing in Gaza is not simple the killing of innocent people and the destruction of their neighborhood. We are seeing a systematic effort by Israel to empty Gaza of its people. We are seeing great destruction in the north, and some of the things that are taking place there look like the determination of an Israeli policy to push Palestinians out of Gaza.
In Spain, activists in solidarity with Palestine mobilized Israeli consulates in Barcelona to demand a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. In view of the continuity of the Israeli attacks in the Gaza Strip, the pro-Palestinian activist movement of Barcelona organized a new mobilization to ask for a ceasefire. The demonstrators expressed their rejection to the occupying force of the Zionist regime of Israel and announced that what is happening in the Middle East country is a genocide. They also raised Palestinian flags and slogans expressing Gaza, you are not alone, and boycott Israel.
I'm here together with my comrades because for more than 75 years there has been a people, the Palestinian people, who are suffering a whole series of massacres, injustice and eviction from their lands. And at this moment there is a government in Israel which is a Zionist government. I am for that, for justice between peoples, for the wars to stop. And because Netanyahu, the fascist and murderer, didn't learn from the Jewish Holocaust, he learned it to apply it to Palestine. That's why I am here, to protest.
We have a second job break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Let's stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final job break, don't go away. Welcome back. West African leaders on Sunday maintained sanctions on Niger's ruling military junta. Leader of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, met at a summit in Nigeria's capital Abuja to assess the region in the aftermath of coups in Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea, and Niger since 2020. ECOWAS Commission Chairman Omar Touré said a group of head of state from Benin, Togo, and Sierra Leone will engage with military junta leaders in Niger to decide on progress toward a transition and other conditions for the lifting of sanctions. And two people had been injured in an attack on a convoy of the International Red Cross community in Khartoum, the capital of Sudan. The aggression occurred amid clashes between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid support forces. The international organization indicated that the injured had been rushed to the hospitals, and the convoy was made up of 3 vehicles of the International Red Cross Committee and that the buses were a batch. The Red Cross Committee is said to have been in the area as it had been evacuating over 100 civilians in a requested and coordinated operation with both sides of the conflict. And civil society in Uganda will meet constitutional court judges this week as they attempt to overturn the world's harshest anti-LGBTQ+ law. The law, which received overwhelming support from members of the parliament when it was passed in March, imposes the death sentence and life imprisonment for certain homosexual acts. Activists will appear at the court on Monday to finalize their appeal before the date is set for a full hearing later this month. Since the law was passed, violence and discrimination has intensified against LGBTQ+ groups, And between January 1st and August 31st, 306 rape violations based on the victim's sexual orientation and gender identity committed by the state and non-state actors have been documented, all of which have gone unaddressed by authorities. Zimbabwe's ruling party won by the election this weekend. And the opposition Citizens Coalition for Change lost several of its legislators in circumstances that have not been clarified by the organization. Such departure led to the calling of those elections in which the ruling ZANU-PF party won 7 seats out of 9 that were disputed over the weekend. Now holds 144 of the 210 electoral districts. Zimbabwe will have runoff elections on February 3rd, 2024 to choose the remaining legislators. An environmental activist stormed a COP28 event on Monday and called for an end to fossil fuels, while the presidency is proposing a new draft climate agreement that called for reducing fossil fuel production and consumption but no longer mentions the phase-out. The new draft climate agreement proposed on Monday by the COP28 presidency, while calling for a reduction in the production and consumption of fossil fuels, is being rejected by environmental organizations that claim the new policy does not value phasing out. The text drafted by the COP28 was made public on the last day of annual climate conference being held in Dubai, and although it advocates reducing fossil fuel consumption and production in a fair, orderly and equitable way to achieve a goal of zero net emissions by 2050, it is rejected by environmental organizations. On Monday, Ukraine sounded the alarm over its European ambitions as EU leaders face a struggle to agree to new financial support and an invitation to Kiev to start formal membership talks. On Thursday, the leader of the 27 European Union states meet a summit that could decide the fates of a promised 50 billion euros in aid, additional fund for weapons, shipments, and the opening. And also the meeting for shipment and opening Ukraine's path to join the bloc. The bloc needs support for Ukraine when the United States backing for Ukraine on the threats from Republicans in the Congress. The prophet that support from the country's other mainly ally may also falter. This terrifies its government. U.S. Army F-16 fighter jet crashed on Monday morning in Gunsan, southwest South Korea. The accident happened near Gunsan Air Base during a training session in which a pilot was able to escape safely after rejecting from the cockpit. Authorities confirmed that the site is used by the South Korean and U.S. armies in the training maneuvers. Washington and Seoul have stepped up training maneuvers in response to defense moves made by the North Korean in reaction to constant threats from the United States and its regional allies. The Chinese government on Monday urged the Philippines to stop infringing on its sovereignty and to stop provocative maneuvers at the sea. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Nian said in response to questions about the Philippines' illegal actions in Ren Al Jiao on Sunday. In the sense, Nian added that on Sunday the freighter, an official vessel, and 2 Philippine Coast Guard cadets, without permission from the Chinese government, entered waters adjacent to Ren Al Jiao in China's Nansha-Qunda region in an attempt to ship construction materials to worship illegally beach on the reef, ignoring warnings from Chinese Coast Guard vessels. Mao Nian noted that Chinese authorities took the necessary coercive measures against the Philippine vessels in accordance with national and international law, which were professional restraints, justified and legitimate. In the meantime, Mao Nian, spokeswoman of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, assured they will continue to do what is necessary in accordance with domestic and international laws to resolutely respond to provocative moves to infringe on China's sovereignty and defend the territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests.
On December 10, one cargo vessel, one official vessel, and 2 Coast Guard ships of the Philippines, without permission from the Chinese government, intruded into adjacent waters of Renai Jiao in China's Nansha-Qunda in an attempt to send construction materials to the illegally grounded warship at the reef. In disregard of the warnings of the China Coast Guard CCG vessels, a Philippine vessel went headlong towards Renai Reef's lagoon and dangerously rammed a CCG ship on the scene. This gravely violated China's sovereignty and jeopardized the safety of the Chinese ships and personnel. The CCG took necessary enforcement measures against the Philippine ship in accordance with domestic and international law, which were professional, restrained, justified, and legitimate. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has lodged serious representations in strong protest to the Philippine side.
We have come to the end of this brief, and before saying goodbye, we want to thank our Caribbean audience, especially the audience of Trinidad and Tobago. We are pleased to share our newscasts and contribute to provide an alternative news source of the latest world events. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Ana Rosabal. Thank you for watching.